What's going on, everybody? Matt Malatesta here. Jackson DiPasquale. We are here in the VYPE studios. Lots going on in the world of high school sports in the city of Houston and Dallas and Austin, everywhere in the state. What's happening big right now? Softball playoffs begin this week. From here, Lake Creek is our #1 team, undefeated still. They have that look to win another state championship. They went back-to-back a couple of years ago, and they were the national champs. Other teams of note, the Katy Tigers. Katy Tigers looking great. Barbers Hill looks really good. Kingwood, we've talked about this at length about some of these teams in the city of Houston that should make a run. The state championship this year coming through Houston for softball and baseball. Book it. Book it. Other things that are happening, we'll go to basketball first. Big news over the weekend. Shelton Henderson, the star for Bellaire High School, our VYPE Player of the Year, decommits from Duke.
Withdraws, because technically he's already signed that
that's true. Okay.
NLI.
And now he's open. Surprised? Not surprised? What do you think?
A little surprising, only because, he seemed pretty locked in with Duke. I think losing Jay Lucas to Miami might have impacted that. Obviously, he played with Jay's dad, John Lucas, on the AAU circuit. So that's definitely why you see Miami kind of trending for him as well. But you're also seeing teams like Texas, who were in his top 3, Texas A&M, Kentucky, and North Carolina also in the mix there. I think that you're going to see strong pushes from each of these schools to try to get this kid on campus because he's an immediate impact player for your program.
I agree. He is really something special. He just combines size, strength, ability to get to the rim. We'll see how good of a shooter he is, but I think it's going to be Miami because of the fact that he played AAU basketball with John Lucas. Jay Lucas, his son, was one of the lead assistant and/or recruiters for Duke. He goes to Duke. He gets the head coaching job at Miami. So it seems like a perfect fit. And Miami's got a ton of money that they spend on NIL. What team are you surprised that's not in that top 4 or 5?
I don't know if I'm necessarily not surprised. I was more surprised that a school like A&M was actually in the mix. If you look at those schools that they mentioned, North Carolina and Kentucky have now proven themselves with new coaches that they are winning and getting still into the tournament. But you look at Texas, whenever we had talked to him before he had committed, Texas is one of the schools he was high on, but they got a new coach, different staffs there. So that's why it's kind of interesting seeing Texas there, interesting to see A&M with the new coaching staff. Miami, obviously, we talked about Jay Lucas, but then the other school that I'm surprised isn't in the mix, that was very much in the mix for him, was Louisville. Louisville was one of his top 3 schools. They're not really in the mix right now. Another school, also Houston. That's local. They've already got 3 5-stars or 3 high 4-star, 5-star kids already committed to the class. Maybe it's kind of the numbers game. You don't have enough space, but local kid from right down the block in Bellaire, it would make sense. But I haven't seen anything that says that there's maybe any interest there.
I was leading you down that path. He is made for Coach Sampson. He is made for that offense, that defense. Oh my gosh, he'd be perfect at U of H. They would make room for him. No doubt. This guy's one of the top players in the country. I mean, I get it going out of town, and sometimes you overlook of what's standing right next to you. And U of H is a power school, just in the finals a couple of weeks ago. So I'm really surprised that he is not. It's either Miami or U of H and nobody else, which is weird. I'm surprised that U of H is not really in the mix. They might be on the background. Maybe they are. Another interesting transfer was the kid from Pittsburgh going to Kentucky.
Jalen
Lowe. And his brother just committed. He had a great year. His brother, Ian Lowe, had a great year at Jordan. He ends up going to Lamar. He's just a little bit undersized, I think. But Jalen Lowe, holy cow, this guy is a draft pick also. He goes to Kentucky. I mean, I guess when Big Blue calls, you go. But I thought that was kind of interesting also that these kids from the hub of Houston are not going to play at Houston, except JoJo Tugler from Cy Falls, who excitingly is coming back for next year. Amazing defensive player.
But you also had Terrence Arsenault, who was at it's technically not Beaumont, but close enough. He just hit the portal as well. So really, Tugler is kind of the main Houston guy. It's interesting to see if I would think you have to throw your hat in the mix for Henderson, but you just look at all the Houston guys that are around the city of Houston that are going out to other places to go play basketball. You would think the local school would be a little bit more in the mix, but the Sampsons do a great job of what they do recruiting wise, so I think they'll be set there. But it's just kind of interesting to see some of these kids get away. Another kid who hit the portal though, which was kind of a VYPE favorite, was former Episcopal guard Justin Begg. He hit the portal from George Mason. Very interested to see where he lands.
Here's my thing with Begg. He only averaged like 2 points a game for George Mason. I mean, when you go in the portal, where do you go from there? Do you go up? Do you go down? Do you try and just dotted line to somebody that is similar to George Mason? Maybe it wasn't a great fit. I don't know, but that's dangerous to get in that portal when you average like 2 points a game.
Well, Arsenault averaged 4 points a game. Someone's going to go get Terrence Arsenault because they will remember before he got injured, I believe last year with the season-ending injury, the dude was a hooper. Like probably the best. He was the best basketball player in the state maybe that year, arguably. So I think Begg's going to land somewhere. I think the biggest thing for him was George Mason took in a transfer from Auburn who has seen SEC playing time and kind of a more established guard, older guy. So I think for Begg, it's just finding that right fit now and getting more playing time, and you'll see the numbers kind of go up.
I do like him. He was really good at Episcopal. So that's the basketball report. Of course, you've got Ayla, who's going to South Carolina. South Carolina girls basketball getting full. Man, they're working that portal hard as well. So some kids are leaving, some kids are staying, but man, it's going to be interesting to see if she can make her mark there at one of the biggest programs in the country. Moving over to track. Holy cow. What a weekend it was for the regional track meets across the state of Texas. First of all, the dude at Duncanville looked like he was on a video game. He looked like, because it was wind aided, let's call it that. But there must have been a damn tornado going because he looked so fast. He looked like he was a fake person running. The kid from Duncanville in the 100.
Yeah, Braden Williams, I think he ran a 9.85 in the first heat, and then the final he ran a 9.82. I think everybody is just looking at the Texas track meets, and they're like, how are these kids so fast? It's crazy. You saw Myson Johnson-Cook from DeSoto, the running back. He ran a 10.3 and didn't qualify.
That's nuts.
That's just crazy. Anywhere else, you're qualifying with 10.3. Not in the state of Texas. It's not going to be enough. You also saw that freshman from CE King, Dylan Mitchell. He qualified for state as well. That 100-meter is going to be very exciting and very fast.
Iowa Colony moves up from 4A to 5A, dominates. Their 4x2 relay team is the second fastest time in the history of track, not in the state of Texas, in the nation. That's historic. And then their 4x1 has got the number 2 time in the state of Texas this year, and their 4x4 is number 10 in the nation. So, holy cow, Iowa Colony is coming, and it translates to recruiting as well as you know. But they got some kids over there that are being highly recruited for football that are showing out on the track.
Yeah, Jaden Warren is part of all those relay teams. I believe he also qualified in the 100-meter, I believe, as well. This is a kid who's a high 4-star, dropped his top 6 schools, actually just picked up an offer from Notre Dame today. So when these track times start coming out, schools are paying attention. They want the speed. You look at the NFL draft that's going to be happening in 3 days. You look at the skills players that are being drafted, they're all running 4.4s and below, and that translates onto the track whenever you're in high school. So, man, it's going to be interesting to see how many more kids start picking up more momentum in their recruitments as we get to state track weekend, because these kids are going to be trying to run their best times, and that's what these college coaches are wanting to see out in the field as well.
They love to see it. Adam Carter from Katy High School broke some records throwing, shot put, discus. I think he's going to Texas State.
I believe so,
Yeah.
yes.
Maid Creek wins the Region 3 track meet in 6A. That was wild. Lamar High School had a great relay as well. Those are just kind of the high-level stuff. 2 kids from Stratford swept the 3200 and the 1600, the long-distance stuff. So there's a week off. Everybody gets healthy and gets rested up, icing themselves up for the state, which is the following week. If you've never been to the state track meet in Austin, it is wild because there's so much happening. It's very hard to cover, but man, it is electric. And, you know, when you have a kid like Matthew Bowling a couple years ago at Strake Jesuit, he breaks the internet. I mean, there are so many eyes on this track meet, which is really cool. I'll have to go check that out. So that's what's going on in track. NFL draft, you mentioned, is coming up. We've got Milroe, Jalen Milroe from Bama, of course. I bet he gets drafted in the first round.
I would say so. I mean, quarterbacks is that one position where NFL team, it's a necessary position, and you need to get somebody. And especially if you're a team that doesn't, like the Steelers, who don't have a quarterback signed right now, you're either signing Aaron Rodgers or you're putting all your faith into Shador or Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe is going to fall to your pick at 21.
It is crazy. And I mean, I think that these GMs, man, they live and die by one position, and that's the QB position. And Aaron Rodgers is holding everybody hostage, mostly the Steelers. Dude, just retire, bro. He's not, just be done with it. It's annoying. But, you know, Milroe's in there. Matthew Golden's going to be drafted before him from Klein Kane. We go back to running the speed. He runs a tremendous mark at the NFL Combine.
I believe a 4.29, if I'm correct.
That's insane. From UT, he was at Klein Kane. And then the big golden Easter egg of the city of Houston is Kelvin Banks, of course, from Summer Creek. Our guy Josh Cook did a great story. He works for Humble ISD. And he goes to Summer Creek, played at Texas. He's probably, let's call it a top 10 pick to be safe.
He's definitely within that top 15 range. If he fell from there, I'd be shocked. You know, he is, in my opinion, watching him the past 3 years, he's been arguably the best offensive lineman in college football. Like, you look at what he did coming in as a freshman, starting every single game. Past 2 years, he started every single game. Got a little banged up towards the end of the year last year. But this is a dude that is going to be a cornerstone left tackle or tackle in the NFL for the next 15 years.
I love the guy. He's such a great guy. And everybody's rooting for him. And you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's so nice off the field. How does he just flip the switch to be an animal on the field? But he does a great job. And again, like you said, he is a 10-year vet or a 10-year pro. And all you got to do is just mark him in your lineup, and he's going to be there. That's really cool to see and great for him. And that area, as we talked about in the past, how many O-linemen have come from that area? Sam Cosme went to Texas. He played at Atascocita. He's been in the NFL a long time. You got the kids over at North Shore for the past couple of years that are getting ready to get in that draft. Jaden Roberts, who plays at Bama. Damian George at Florida.
You also had the offensive lineman from Kingwood who got his jersey retired a few years ago.
Yes. Travis
Swanson.
Yeah. You got Swanson. You got Cam Dewberry, who transferred from A&M to Alabama. You've got the other guy who did the Texans draft a couple years ago.
Kenyon Green.
Kenyon Green. That's a small area, town. That's some high-level offensive linemen.
And they've got more coming.
Heck yeah. They got the Kingwood kid,
yes,
who's the #1 offensive lineman in the country, and he's just a junior, and we've seen him up close and personal. He's a nice-looking player. He's going to be really good.
And then you got the 2 young kids at North Shore that will be juniors next year, Deuce Cone and Chase Brown. I mean, it's a lot of big bodies over on that east side of town.
They're eating a lot of Whataburger. They're going to be eating a lot of Whataburger. Okay, so that is NFL. We'll go recruiting wise. A lot of stuff kind of popping right now as well. Offers translated for track. Also, a ton of camps going on right now. Or not camps, but more combine type stuff. 7-on-7s wrapped up. Um, who are your top three guys that are warming up right now?
Pearland linebacker Joseph Credit is a kid that's we're getting real close to a commitment, I think, here. He's already finished up his official visits to TCU, Kansas, Arizona State. He's got his last official visit with UCLA. Those are the four main schools he's focusing on. He'll have that, I believe it's May 5th through 7th. Once he takes that official visit, 2 weeks later will be the spring game for Pearland, and he will be making a decision. Talking with him this past weekend after the box showcase camp, I think that Kansas looks to be an early leader. He likes what he saw from TCU and Arizona State as well. Coach Dillingham, he did mention from Arizona State, definitely an interesting character, just a younger guy, player coach. But he did say Kansas is a school that's really standing out right now. He was pleasantly surprised on his official visit. So I think it's really going to come down to the wire. There's about 3 weeks until he makes that decision, a little less than a month. So he's a guy to watch out for here in the next couple of weeks. Also, depending on when this airs, I believe a Clear Falls linebacker will be getting ready to make a decision as well. He recently took some official visit trips, so watch out for that. That'll be probably happening at some point today or this week. And then also Kosiak Paula from Maid Creek. He's got some big official visits coming up. He's got Penn State, Houston, Texas, Miami, and I believe the last one is Baylor as well. So it'll be interesting. I think Texas is the school to beat here for his recruitment. But anytime you're going to Penn State and you look at what they've done with those kind of linebacker edge guys, you look at Micah Parsons, Abdul Carter, who's about to go top 10 in the NFL draft. It's an attractive place to go play if you're a defensive player.
He fits the profile. He looks like a Penn State linebacker for the most part. U of H had their practices or spring games. I don't know what they were doing, but it was kind of interesting to see Ridge Point's Austin Carlisle, who is a freshman quarterback for them. He looked pretty good, just athletic. People get wild when he hurdles over people and stuff like that. And then, of course, you've got the transfer from A&M, Connor Wegman. We'll see how he ends up doing over there. It seems like it's his job to lose. I think Fritz is doing a pretty good job in building some pieces over there. They're going to be much improved, I think. U of H recruiting, are they on a lot of kids' boards? Of course they got Keyshawn Henderson. He's kind of the star.
Kind of the puppet master.
He's
for
the most part, but people have never seen him play. Like your average high school football fan has never seen this dude play. But he is kind of the straw that stirs the drink in their recruiting class coming up for next year. The number one player in the state of Texas, quarterback, Legacy Sports Science. Legacy
Sports and Science.
Yes. So those are three hot names. We got to the Woodlands. Kind of cool to see what they do. We're launching over the next couple of weeks the spring tour, the VYPE Spring Tour. Checking out football teams. We'll be at North Shore. We'll be at Memorial, seeing how Brooks Hack is doing over there in his first year of head coaching. First stop, Woodlands. What'd you see? Didn't really see a whole lot, but I thought, they put on a pretty good show.
Yeah, I really liked watching some of the things that we're trying to install this spring offensively. Just kind of different packages, different things that they're going to do. When you have a guy like Jack Dalton, the TCU commit there, there's lots of different avenues you can use to use his skill set, both passing the ball and running the ball. So I really liked what I saw there. Really liked what I saw as far as just size-wise defensively. Kason Bartolozzi looks like he's in good shape, getting ready for another big year. I believe he tied the interception record last year for the Woodlands. You look at him as kind of one of the big pieces on that in the secondary. You also look at the two linebackers they've got there, Cole Carlin and Timmy Park. Both of them played a lot of football last year, and they are really fast, great tacklers. Both of them are going to be big pieces. Also, look out for Jairi Jefferson and Derek Williams on the defensive line. I believe Jairi potentially led the team in sacks last year. Very effective up front. I think also at the skills position, really like what I saw, at least from the guys that were out there. They're missing a few pieces that are coming over from track and also baseball, I believe. But I think it's more of a reload offensively. The offensive line will potentially be the biggest question mark going into next fall, but honestly, you look at what they have coming back defensively and then pieces that they have on offense, I think that they can still be. I would argue they're a favorite right now. They're a top 10 team in the city of Houston going into next year.
For sure. They should win district. Of course, you have Willis, who's knocked them off the last 2 years, but I think this might be their year to win that district and then go a couple rounds deep, see what happens when you face one of the big boys from the Dallas area. But I was impressed. It was cool to see like Coach Jim Rapp get loosened up a little bit. Like he's not like in season where they're all stressed out and stuff, but it was kind of cool to see that. But check out those features coming up. That's the VYPE Summer Camp Series. If you want anybody for us to cover, let us know. DM us on Insta, Twitter, etc. All right, so we covered a lot. NFL draft, recruiting, softball, track, basketball happenings. We'll keep you updated on all this as well if you follow our Insta, Twitter, Facebook, website, because we get, up to the minute news. All right, Matt Malatesta, Jackson DiPasquale. Like and follow us on YouTube. Tell a friend. Tell a friend. And also, go eat at Whataburger. Why wouldn't you? All right, we'll see you all at the games.